I don't think that there is another case where the genocidal, the destructive intent is as obvious, as documented, as proven, as declared over and over as this one.
It's your use of the word intentionally there that Israel disputes, isn't it? That they say they are not intentionally hitting civilian targets.
What are they
They
doing?
are intentionally hitting Hamas targets.
I do not want to downplay the risks that Israel has faced or might still face, but nothing justifies a genocide.
So can you walk me towards your conclusion that this is genocide? Hello and welcome to The Forecast. I'm Krishnan Guru Murthy. My guest this week is the UN Special Rapporteur on the Palestinian occupied territories, Francesca Albanese. She is an Italian lawyer who for the last 3 years has held this UN appointment, but she is persona non grata in Israel and so is not allowed to travel there. She's a very controversial figure in Israel, and her appearances all over the world are often accompanied by vitriolic campaigns against her speaking, and she's here in London for a series of meetings. As we speak, Israel has broken the ceasefire. Overnight, there was a massive bombing campaign, and Hamas is reporting around 300 people killed so far. It's possibly the biggest single loss of life since early on in the war after the October 7th attacks. And let's begin with that. What's your reaction to what has happened overnight?
Well, hi, thanks for having me. First of all, it's not that Israel broke the ceasefire last night. Israel has just killed around 400 people, and this is the acceleration of not a war, of the genocide that is happening in real time, and it has been happening for the past 16 months. Nearly between 45,000 and 50,000 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza, and as we speak, Israel has ordered the evacuation of the Palestinians in Gaza from the north or from the south, which means that the aggression is going to continue. This is a military strategy aiming to ethnically cleanse what remains of Palestine, and if the Palestinians do not move voluntarily, this is what waits for them.
We'll come to your use of the word genocide and why you concluded that in a moment. But I just want to put to you what Israel's explanation is. They say they are...
But I don't need to hear what Israel says. Can we center the discussion on international law? And this is not my opinion. There is a commission of inquiry, Amnesty International, Israeli historians. I'm fine with responding to any questions, but I would like the discussion not to be centered about what the government that is led by two leaders who are indicted for war crimes and crimes against humanity say.
So I want to ask you precisely about the legality of what is going on now, because Israel says it is targeting Hamas terrorists, and it says that anybody else killed is a regrettable byproduct of war. Now, what is the legality of what they are doing if they are indeed targeting people they regard as Hamas?
Let's pause for a second, Krishnan. 18,000 children being a regrettable outcome of war? It stinks as a lie. And let me tell you, 500 years of genocide have been, of settler colonial history have been supported by this kind of arguments, that there is always someone who's barbarians as a terrorist. Again, I do not want to downplay the risks that Israel has faced or might still face, but nothing justifies a genocide. And the destruction of life that has taken place over the last 16 months in Gaza, all schools, all hospitals, farming land, and most of the houses. What is this? Why did Israel had to do that? In another situation, would you call a state that hits intentionally and voluntarily hospitals, that starves an entire defenseless population, because this is what it is, would you call it an outcome of war?
It's your use of the word intentionally there that Israel disputes, isn't it? That they say they are not intentionally hitting civilian targets.
What are they doing?
Are intentionally hitting Hamas targets. So what is the legal... And that's how they say everything we're doing is legal. So what is your legal analysis of that?
Okay, The legal analysis is then, let's assume that it's a conflict, right? In a conflict, there are rules, and there are a principle of military necessity that Israel claims to have. Well, it is to provide evidence, it is to take precautions, it is to respect the principle of proportionality in every action it takes. How it's possible that in 16 months it has killed 50,000 people and leveled to the ground the entire Gaza Strip? Very little remains, not enough to resume life. Again, this is not the first time that a power justifies its action, its devastation, in terms of self-defense or in terms of an action motivated by annihilating the terrorists. This is not the point, but there are rules to spare life, to preserve the sanctity of life, and there are obligations. Look, again, this is not debatable. I mean, my intention is not to debate whether it's genocide or not. This is past. We have failed to prevent genocide, and it's not just me saying that. The entire human rights community, there is a wall-to-wall consensus that Israel is committing genocide. Like 2 years ago, there was a wall-to-wall consensus that Israel was maintaining an apartheid regime. And I take it that it's very sensitive for politicians to deal with it. But there are two Israeli leaders